skip a little rope. You know, rhythm is a great thing, and rhythm is a part of fighting.
Certainly, combinations of punches, it is rhythm, isn't it?
That's right.
Does it tire you out as much as it without music?
No, you see, Ed, have you ever been to a dance and dancing the whole night through, and then when you go home, you're not tired, because why is that rhythm gets into you, you know, and the music gets mixed up in you, and you just go on and on.
Greetings, people. I come in peace. Well, talk about snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. I had Rico winning at least 8 rounds going into the 11th. Usyk got lit up and hurt several times, and he just seemed to be unable to get started. I even heard one of the commentators say he looks like he's in a trance. That's what they said when AJ was fighting Dubois. Usyk looked lethargic and sluggish, even apathetic, like he really didn't want to be there. I am a fan of Usyk. I like his attitude. I like his boxing. I like the whole package. But that was not a good look for someone who is rated as an all-time great. And I still think he is one of the greats. I think the stoppage of Rico was a bit abrupt though, as it was at the end of the round. I think the bell went, and I think he deserved to come out for the 12th. It reminded me a bit of Meldrick Taylor v. Julio Cesar Chavez.
Unbelievable! Richard Steele stopped the fight with fewer than 5 seconds to go. You're going to watch Luduba go crazy now.
But I suppose the writing was on the wall. Rico was spent. Yet, if Rico managed to get through the 12th somehow, he would have won. Well, on my cards anyway. And that brings me to the judges' scorecards. They were horrendous. 2 of them had it a draw going into the 11th, and one had Rico up by 1 point. As I said, I could only give Usyk 2 rounds, but I have to watch it back. Earlier on, I noticed that Usyk was circling to his left towards Rico's right hand, which can be a little bit awkward, circling away from your lead hand side. It's usually easier to circle to the same side as your jab hand, and Usyk usually throws the right jab and dips to his right, making sharp angles on that side to line his opponent up with the straight left or looping left. When I first saw Usyk moving that direction, I thought it was a ploy, but he didn't adjust or modify his path. After the fight, Usyk spoke about what was going on in Ukraine. So that might be a factor on why his focus wasn't as acute as we've seen before. Coming in heavy couldn't have helped. I think he got a little enraptured after knocking out Dubois, and he thought he'd do the same against Rico, but didn't realise how determined and good he was. You see, Rico didn't respect Usyk. He was confident in his own physicality. He was fully aware that he was the bigger and stronger man. When Rico did throw his punches, he didn't stand back and watch his work. He went again for a second phase. He crowded Usyk. He didn't allow him to get his combinations off. I have to say, from what we witnessed, Usyk has lost a step. Maybe Usyk did overlook Rico, but when the fight was slipping away, he had real difficulties in revving himself up. I never thought Usyk should take the Caballel fight, but now I think he should avoid him like the plague. Anyway, Usyk did pull it out of the hat despite the complaints. Rico was finished, and I think Usyk would have closed the show in the last round. But let that be a lesson to you. Don't put the belt on the line for a gimmick fight, because that would have been a sickener to be beaten and lose your belt to a kickboxer in his second fight. Could you imagine? Nobody in boxing had heard of Rico to that point. He's famous now, and good for him. A silly money grab fight to take. Wouldn't there be a certain symmetry if AJ fought Rico instead of Prenga? But I think AJ has got quite a task on his hand. That one looks like a proper fight to me, and on the back of what Rico just did with Usyk, AJ is in with a big punching, unbeaten and hungry boxer with a point to prove. Not a walk in the park like everyone seems to think. Boxing tends to shoot itself in the foot when the authorities sanction bouts like these. Fury being knocked down by Ngannou, Jake Paul going 6 rounds with AJ, Conor McGregor going 10 with Mayweather. Egg on boxing's face. Boxing needs to get its credibility back. The ridiculous amount of money and freak show circus announcers putting on any type of bizarre and peculiar matchup that they can imagine is rapidly changing the sport. Usyk has to rematch Rico now, clogging up the system again, messing up Kabiel. What's going on? It's a mess. Don't hold your breath for Fury v AJ. I would be shocked if that fight actually happens. There's so much obstacles in the way. Well, we have another fly in the ointment, and I'm interested to see how Rico would fare against another heavyweight. I have a feeling he'd get his bubble burst. No offense to Rico, he seems mentally and physically tough and has sound fundamentals, but doesn't do anything particularly spectacular. And he doesn't have to, does he? It's all about fundamentals. He implemented a very good game plan with Peter Fury, who I think is brilliant, with his realness and observations of fights and fighters. Yet, one thing that Usyk didn't do, that other heavyweight boxers in the top 10 would do, is hit Rico hard and early to discourage and dissuade him from gaining a foothold. It was noticeable to me that Usyk was just pitter-pattering his punches for the first few rounds and only tried to put meat on his punches after he was rocked. Interestingly, I believe fighters like Dubois, AJ, Wardley, Zhang, Bakoli, anyone that has explosive power would hurt him early and keep him hurt. He'd last longer with anyone who needs to grind their opponent down steadily before knocking him out. He is very durable. He recovers fast. If you look at some of his kickboxing fights, he's been down and he gets up to win emphatically. Styles makes fights, and Usyk didn't have that explosive power to put Rico down or keep him buzzed for a long enough duration to get him out of there. Maybe that's why Usyk put on so much weight, but that weight does not suit the style he has that has defeated so many boxers. He has to go back to basics, but he is older and he's very wealthy, with a family, with things going on in his country. You know, motivation is an important thing for fighters, for anybody. Is he motivated anymore? All I see ahead for him are hard fights with young guns. Anyway, now that people know what Rico can do, they'll take him more seriously and prepare accordingly. If Usyk fights Rico again, I'll expect him to beat him more convincingly. Rico might cause some upsets on the boxing scene, but we'll have to see. Interesting. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please subscribe if you like. But remember, choose life. Thank you.